for to test out another brand new vehicle here in the game. So this week it is of course the Zenvo with the wobbly wing that we're getting added this week. The Zenvo TSR-S, which is basically the street version of a track car but with a wobbly spoiler on the back. But before we go and test that out, I want to quickly show you how to unlock it because it's a bit different. It's this new photo challenge thing that you see here. And basically you have to take a photo of any of your cars in front of the main stage here on the festival. So that's the main stage up there, so as long as that is in your shot and one of your cars is, that is the challenge completed. You do have to be fairly close to it. I tried taking it from over at the festival with that in shot and it didn't count, so if it's not working just try coming a bit closer, try a few angles, it does eventually work. And then you get the car. So this obviously is not it, this is the other Zenvo, the ST1, the older car, less track focused car. But yeah, if we go and change straight into the TSR-S, which we have here, new, which is of course a newer version of it. So I'm guessing most of you will know this already, but of course Zenvo is a Danish car company. And you might remember when they had a car on Top Gear, I think that was the older one, it actually caught fire. But anyway, here's a first look at this, which of course has this wobbly wing on it. We'll get away from the festival quickly, because otherwise we're going to get banned for playing nondescript music that nobody likes anyway. So let's head away from there. But basically, yes, it is a road-going version of the TS1 GT car. And the TS1, which is a track car that you can buy, as well as obviously the GT car that I mentioned before. But yeah, the S is obviously street version of the car. And yeah, obviously the kind of interesting thing about it is the wing. They call it a centripetal wing on the back, which obviously turns to give you more downforce. Because normally when a car goes around a corner, the inside will lift up a bit, so the wing rotates so that it's forcing the inside of the car down. So you can see there'll be more air on the outside pushing it towards the inside, which is why it sort of rotates kind of the opposite way to the way you're steering. It's a crazy interior, as you might expect, although quite similar to the other Zenvo we've got. But yeah, it is a wild, wild thing. Obviously we've got the wobbly spoiler on the back, which is kind of the main feature of it, the centripetal wing. But apart from that, it's also pretty crazy. It's got over 1,000 horsepower from a twin supercharged V8, so yeah, a bit of a mad thing. Obviously starts at 972 class here in Forza. But yeah. And it's got crazy acceleration. I don't know whether it's this or the track version, but one of them does 0 to 60 in about 2.8 seconds, and under 3 is just, well, it doesn't happen very often. But yeah, the wing is supposed to give us more downforce and grip in the corners. I'm not quite sure how much of a good job it does, and how much it's just like them trying to be clever and create something different. But either way, it does look pretty cool. Right, anyway, as it's dark and we're coming up to a house just around the corner, I think it's a good point to have a quick look at the customization and upgrades that are available, if any, which I kind of doubt. The only option we're going to have is a Forza wing, which we obviously don't want when we've got a centripetal wing. Anyway. Here we are at the Gables. It gives us a better look at the car as well as seeing what upgrades and customization are available. Might not do very much. Might give it a new paint, although probably not a custom one because we'll lose that cool Zenvo-y writing-y bit in the middle. What have we got in terms of aero? Okay, we've only got the front splitter, which actually, if it didn't have that stupid tow hook thing on it, I would be very tempted to put that on, because look at those canards. Those are a bit more mad than usual. Okay. And yeah, no wing option, luckily. We have got an all-wheel drive swap, which I don't really want to do. But yeah, luckily there's not even an option to swap the wing, so we won't see any horrible Forza winged versions of it. Do I want to do that? It's already on race tyres, although they seem to change shape slightly with the writing on, which is a bit weird. I think we'll just keep that stock. I might bring out the widths a bit, just to give us a little bit more grip, because it's not the easiest thing to drive at the moment. Let's do this as well, make it look a little bit better. And if we can, maybe lower the suspension a tiny bit. If we can. I'm guessing it's already on race. Yes, we've got rally and drift. You can strip out a bit of weight. We're not going to do that. You can do it roll cage, which will obviously ruin it. Well, it might make it handle a little bit better. I think we'll leave the rest of that alone. I didn't think there'd be much I'd want to do to this. I will see if there are some other more interesting manufacturer colours to put on this. But probably won't, like I say, won't put a proper design on it. I will have a look after I'll have a look at the colours, then we'll see if the community has made anything interesting. Probably not, that's usually the case. Okay, so that's the only option we've got, and as soon as we paint it another colour, we lose the cool Zenvo-y bit. So I might just leave it pretty much as it is. I will have a quick look at designs, see if anybody's made anything yet. It's amazing how quickly you get all these on here. They're kind of like a racing car. What I wanted really was a different colour, but still with the Zenvo. That is cool. I mean, it's not been very well done, but it's a Golf livery with a 13 on it. That is brilliant. Who made that? Well, it would be if it had been made well. Okay, so we've kept it pretty much stock. We don't even want to change the paint. Turns out, cars this wild in the first place, there's not really a lot you want to do to them. Unfortunately, it's still dark, so I think maybe what we should do, if we go up here to Asmore, let's run a race around Asmore in the daytime. I don't often actually race these new cars against AI properly. We'll whack up the difficulty to unbeatable, I think. Run a race around here. Right, so we've gone for 3 laps around the Asmore Heritage Circuit in hypercars, because otherwise you end up with just Ford Focuses and Audi TTs. Otherwise, we'll quickly whack up the driver tires to unbeatable and begin the race. Partly because I'm quite familiar with this circuit, and partly because I want to see how the Zenvo does against vaguely competent AI, shall we say, because anything other than that you win quite easily. I want to give this car a little bit of a challenge. See how it actually stacks up against these. I mean, obviously, what is this McLaren doing? Obviously, we're going to be faster than AI. It's just whether we can get past all of them and how it stacks up against other hypercars, which is, like I say, why I chose that rather than... And there's our over 1,000 horsepower. I don't know why the AI always brake around that corner. I thought maybe they wouldn't when they're on unbeatable turn. Okay, it seems to understeer a little bit. But it's not breaking traction as much as I thought it might during the race. What are you doing, Lamborghini? Right, we should still be able to win. Although first place always runs away a little bit when you put them on unbeatable. Don't slow down there, Koenigsegg. No, it has more power than me. Surely that Senna doesn't, eh? Koenigsegg is properly equipped though. I think it handles as well as me. Dropping down second was a mistake though. We broke traction quite badly. Oh wow, that's slow. One more to get. In one more lap, can we do it? What even is that? A bit on the grass, it's all good. Yeah, as usual with unbeatable AI, there is one that runs away that really shouldn't. It doesn't matter what they're driving, even if they're in a Ford Focus, they will do 300 miles an hour to get away from you. I think it's an Aventador SV, which fair enough is quick, but it should not be as quick as this. Anyway, we did pretty well getting up to second in the Zenvo. Not too bad from the new car. But anyway, yeah, there's not a lot we can really do with it, because obviously it's not a lot of customization, which isn't a surprise, and I'm not really that disappointed by it, because it's already pretty crazy as it is. But yeah, I was looking forward to this one. I did kind of hope this would get added. I kind of thought they wouldn't bother, because they didn't want to bother programming the wing, but I'm pleased it's here, as long as they keep it in whatever the next game's going to be. Don't make it disappear like they seem to do with a lot of cars they add. Add them in one game, then they're not in the next game. But anyway. Yeah, I do love this thing. I mean, I like the other Zenvo enough, but this one does this. Which I agree isn't entirely useful. I don't actually think it... I don't know, but I don't actually think it's much better than having a fixed wing. I mean, the track version of this does have a fixed wing, and is probably quick around corners. Actually, I'll tell you what we probably should do. It's not going to be the fastest car in the game, but let's go for a quick speed run down the motorway. See what it does. I should just check. I know it's over 1,000 horsepower. I should just check how much it actually is. 1,177. There we go. That's quite a lot. Anyway, let's go. And that noise of the twin superchargers from the interior. Especially through the tunnel. That is cool. The wing's probably going to stay pretty much flat all the way down here, isn't it? Yeah, it's not even moving. It's pretty quick. Don't forget this is stock. You could probably make it go faster if you wanted to. I don't really want to. I like to keep my cars fairly standard on here. Oh, that's a barrier. Right, well, it's all over 230, which really isn't too bad. I mean, it's enough, isn't it? But yeah, obviously the main thing is the centripetal wing on the back. Although I also find the twin supercharged engine quite, well, a bit mad. But yeah, quite cool. It's more exciting than the cars we've been getting recently, as much as I like the MR2s. This is just cooler, isn't it? And it's nice to have a more varied selection, because although one MR2, it would be nice if they spread them out. Or just added them when they added... They should have just added all the Toyotas when they got the license, to be honest. And then added interesting cars every week. But anyway. That is the Zenvo, and it's nice that they've gone back to a more varied week. Obviously we had the Rally Week and the Toyota Week recently. So it's nice they're going back to slightly more varied cars. Which I will quickly show you through, now that we've finished giving the new Zenvo a go. And basically next week we've got the Ford GT70, which is a sort of concept for an almost rally car version of the Ford GT40, made in very limited numbers. So I'll be testing that one out next week. Then the following week we've got the number 5 Ford Escort, which is a little bit shame it isn't the full Group 5 Zack Speed one that people thought it might be. But that's quite fun to drive. I've actually driven that in a Rivals event. So I'll be testing that one out in winter, and then into spring we will be testing out the Mazda Rx-7. First generation Rx-7 is coming to the game, which is a cool thing. I think it's only Mazda's second rotary car, if I'm correct, after the old Cosmo. So that'll be quite interesting. Yeah, like I say, quite a varied selection, obviously, with the Zenvo. What did we get? The two Fords, the GT70 and the Ford Escort. They're very cool. And obviously the Rx-7. So yeah, it's quite a nice varied selection this month. Well, it doesn't quite line up with the month, does it? But anyway. This series, I guess, on Forza. So yeah, I will be back to test out those soon. But that is going to be all looking at the very crazy Zenvo, which I'm hoping we get more stuff like this at some point. It probably is the one I'm most interested in out of the four, possibly the GT70. That's quite an interesting car. The Escort's a shame that wasn't the completely wild one, because we've kind of already got the base car of that. And the Mazda is just returning. It's been in previous Forza games, I think. But anyway, that is going to be it for a first look at the new Zenvo. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.